Hi, my name is Emmanuel Day-to-me. Of course, if you have followed us on this platform, Next Gen Pulse, I'm sure you're very familiar with the kind of stuff that we share here. Today in particular, I want to share something that I've titled the 10 best strategies to overcome failure and losses. In other words, I'm talking about what I would call failure and adversity masterclass 101. Now, listen, before we zoom in, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel to receive all the great ideas that we are sharing on this platform, to join the critical mass so that we can change our paradigm and build businesses that would employ a lot more people on our continent, in our country, Ghana, and across the continent, Africa, please subscribe to this channel. Help us share the link with as many young professionals, entrepreneurs who really want to build businesses in this country, Ghana, and across the continent, so that everybody would understand that the times in which we live has changed. And all of us, including you that you are watching me right now, we must work hard to drive poverty out of our system. So as I said, I am talking about the 10 best strategies to overcome failure and losses. Failure and Adversity Management Masterclass 101. Now, let me begin by laying a foundation. Listen, everyone in life can fall. Everyone. It doesn't matter your status. If you talk to the most accomplished professor, the most accomplished entrepreneur, the most successful business guy, he or she will tell you that they all fall. In other words, everyone can fall. And indeed, most successful people have fallen in life before. However, it is not everyone who learns from it to be able to bounce back, to go on to achieve greater success in life. But you see, when you fall, the fall is not as important as what you pick up from the ground. Why? Because what you pick up from the ground is what becomes your lesson, your experience. And guess what? You can never walk into any shop and say, I want to buy experience. You only buy experience from the things that you do on a daily basis. And you see, if you disaggregate certain words like disappointment, you come to appreciate that you will find the word appointment in that word disappointment. Courage, for example, is found in the word discouragement. And again, in the same way, possibilities are found in the word impossibilities. What am I trying to say? Anything that happens to you in life, rather than focusing on the losses and the failure, flip the coin and look at the other side. Why? Because for everything that happens, there is an equal opportunity that if you change your mindset about that same particular issue, you'll be amazed what is going to happen from that. So success in itself can be found in failure. Whatever you are dreaming about, whatever you are thinking about of getting, if indeed you have come to a point where it looks as if you have lost everything, it looks as if everything is just going is going the other way around, listen to me, don't give up, because success can be found even in adversity. You see, in this life, you don't get greatness for free. You have to sweat for it. Nobody has got greatness in this world for free. You have to sweat for it. You can talk about, the Michael Jacksons, the Muhammad Ali's, and all those people. They'll tell you how they started. They'll tell you the scars on their bodies. They'll tell you the scars on their walls. So I don't know why is it that many people these days want to believe that you can start something today, not have any worries, and then the next day you are right there on top of the ladder. It doesn't work like that. Listen, when you are able to hold on to your dream, regardless of the challenges in the external environment, that is what is called greatness. And that is what I want to share with you all today, so that you can appreciate the fact that there are strategies, there are ways to overcome your failure and to recover all the losses that you have gone through. Now, let's begin by taking the first strategy. The first strategy is this. Whenever you lose something, whenever you feel that you have failed, rather than throwing in the towel, listen to me, redefine the failure. In other words, look at what you call failure and see what is it that, how you can redefine it. What name, how you can rename it. Because what? Failure is not the permanent state of your life. So what you need to do is that you must see failure as normal, as temporary, and of course, as an event. As I said, everybody who you admire today, from president to the best businessman, the best athlete, the best footballer, whatever you can think about, listen to me, they may not tell you, they may not write it in their books, but every human being has experienced, every human being who has made something out of himself or herself, experience failure. So see failure from a different perspective. Take, for example, Thomas Edison, the guy who gave us the light bulb that all of us are enjoying. Now, you may not know, but I'm sure those of you who have read, you come to appreciate the fact that Thomas Edison failed almost 1,000 times. Now, guess what? When he was asked, why do you keep persisting after all these failures? He said, no, I didn't fail. Why? I learned how certain things cannot work. In other words, I learned how the fluorescent bulb cannot be produced. In other words, he redefined what you and I will call failure. That is why this morning I'm sharing with you and I'm saying to you that whatever losses you have had, friend, give a different name to it. See failure as an opportunity to correct what didn't work. See failure or any loss as an improvement and relaunch. It's all about a paradigm shift, my friend. See the opportunity in the difficulty instead of the difficulty in the opportunity. So the first strategy you must have is that anytime you embark on any project, anytime you embark on any activity, and it turns out that what you expected did not work, don't call it failure. Call it an opportunity to learn another way of achieving what you wanted to achieve. In other words, learn to crystallize this positive mental attitude by refocusing consciously on the positives in every situation that you find yourself. You know how I call it? I call it adversity quotient. Adversity quotient. Why? We have emotional quotient, we have intelligence quotient. Adversity, failure, also has a quotient. And if you can develop that, I guarantee you, you can never fail. Strategy number 2. Remember, I'm talking about adversity and management, masterclass here. How do you turn your failures into success? You see in these strategies. Listen, when you make the effort to change your inner world of thoughts and feelings, your external environment will eventually begin to give you positive feedback. So redefine that failure. Redefine that situation. Number 2, strategy number 2. Just in case you have failed, you see that you have failed. Just in case you have made a lot of losses. Just in case you are going through some severe adversity, listen to me. Own the failure. Take ownership of it. What do I mean? When you accept total responsibility of your failure or for your failure, it gives you a different opportunity to learn what did not work. It's unfortunate for many people when certain things don't go well for them, they see it as personal. Hey, no. If you do that, you can't go far. You can't go forward. So what am I saying? You may dodge the responsibility for failure, but you cannot dodge the consequences of failure. So own it. Do not cover up and do not go back out. Do not back out. Own it. The more you formulate an image of your behavior in future event, the easier it will be for you to execute any way of doing what you wanted to do. So once you own it, it gives you the opportunity, it gives you the impetus, it gives you the momentum to be able to redo what you wanted to do, and so that you can bounce back and do it more. Strategy number 3. Remember, we are talking about the 10 best strategies to overcome failure and to bounce back no matter how much you have lost. Strategy number 3. Remember, the first one is that redefine it. Redefine what you call as failure, the situation that you call as failure, the situation that you call as losses, the business that you think that you have lost it. Redefine the whole context. And then when you have done that, own the process. When you own the process, you will be amazed how you can turn that failure into an opportunity. So the third strategy that you are going to use is that after you have redefined it, after you have owned the process and be able to identify the opportunities, assess the situation and identify the failure factors. Listen, there are what we call success factors and at the same time what we call failure factors. That's a fact. So what am I saying? If you really want to become successful and avoid failure or overcome your failure, friend, undertake what I call an introspective and retrospective analysis of the situation to identify the failure factors in that situation. You need to sit down and ask yourself two basic questions. What are the key issues here? What made me fail? How did it happen? What factors made it possible for it to happen? These are very, very fundamental questions. Listen, I wrote a book several years back. The book is titled, What I Wish I Knew Before the Age of 20. This book. In this book, I said that in life, everybody falls. But you see, the fall is not as important as what to pick from the ground. It's in this book. And if you are able to assess the context, the situation in that you call failure, and ask critical questions. Again, in the book, I said, it is the quality of the questions you ask in life that determines the answers you get in life. So what am I saying? If you want to overcome your failure and your losses, ask critical questions that will enable you to understand what the failure factors are. And such questions, as I've mentioned, what are the key issues here? What are the fundamental issues that made me end up the way I did? How did it happen? What factors made it possible for it to happen? Why? Because in life, there's cause and effect, factors in everything that happens. So whether you have failed, whether you have lost something, there has to be something that led to that. Identify all those factors. And once you identify all those factors, then you can move on to the next stage, which is point number 4. What do I mean by that? Develop learning points. After having assessed the situation, you need to sit back and ask yourself, what are the key lessons that I'm picking from here? Because you see, any life that is not examined is not worth living. You can't just go on life just like that. And if you really want to make it in life, if you really want to bounce back, and you can, develop learning points as you go along. Listen, the best way to fail forward instead of backwards is to pick learning points from whatever you have lost. Whatever situation you call failure. Ask questions like, what behavior caused this to happen? Because there's a cause and effect scenario here. What skill gap caused this to happen? You are running a business. You started a business, maybe it was handed over to you by your dad or your parents. Or as an entrepreneur, you started it by yourself. But you see, you've run the business up to a point where the business has gotten to a point where it has to grow. The skills with which you started, are those skills enough for you to continue doing the business? You may have started as an entrepreneur. The business has gotten to a point now where you realize that the competencies you have cannot make you remain the CEO of the company. It's about time that you got somebody else who has the competencies that are required by the current state of the business to take it from you, whilst you still enjoy being a majority shareholder. So what skill gap caused the failure to happen? How could I have done it differently? Ask these questions. If I had another opportunity, how differently would I do it and why? Listen, what you don't know about your trade or about your business could always hurt you. I wrote a book titled Customer Service. It's not attitude. It's not a department, but attitude. The title of the book is called Customer Service is not a department, but attitude. Listen to me. There are things you don't know about your business, but if you don't develop the attitude to make you agile, to be able to learn it, chances are that you may either lose the business or the business would remain at where it is. It will plummet it. It will plummet it. The business will not move forward. So you need to come to a point where you appreciate the fact that the skills you have in running that business, can it take you to the next level? The skills you have in pursuing that profession, can it take you to the next level? Otherwise, embrace the learning points and move on to the next level. Point number 5, put in place corrective measures. We are talking about adversity and failure management masterclass here. How do you bounce back from failure? How do you overcome your failure and become a success after a failure? Now, number 5 says, put in place corrective measures. What do I mean by that? Identifying the failure factors is not enough. You have to put in place corrective measures to be able to take off on a different pedestal. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. The answers to the following questions should lead you to institute measures to prevent the recurrence of that particular situation. If you don't, the failure is going to repeat itself. So what are the questions? Number 1, how different should you have done it? How different should you have done this? How differently will you do it next time? Who would you have included if you were to do it again? How much of what will you have added? How much of what would you have added? What would you have to stop doing if you have to relaunch? If you have to start again? Are there some things that you are going to have to overcome them, to forget about them? Because you see, you cannot keep on doing the same thing all the time and yet to expect to have a different result. That is not going to happen. Now, listen, if you have followed us up to this point and you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, share the link, and as many people who are learning to overcome their struggles in life, who are struggling to overcome failure and losses, share the link with them. Let's encourage all these people to bounce back, because they can bounce back. So subscribe to the channel. Point number 6, be flexible and creative. Listen, accept the fact that life is not linear, neither is it static. That's a fact. You cannot start life in a straight line and expect to end in a straight line. It doesn't work like that. Talk to anybody. I'm 62 years old and I can tell you, in my 6 decades on this planet, life has been like a zigzag. You just can't go. There are a lot of things you plan and it doesn't happen the way you have planned it. What would you do? Would you cry? Would you throw in the towel? No. So you got to be flexible and creative as you move on in the pursuit of your dream. Things will not always turn out the way you want it. Have the ability to adapt quickly and learn how to manage that change. If you can't adapt, if you can't be agile, you can't be flexible enough, and you say that this is how my father did it, this is how my auntie did it, and therefore that's how I'm going to continue to do it, my friend, it's not going to work. So now that you want to bounce back from failure, now that you want to move on to the next level, the question what you must do is that you must be flexible and then be creative. Why? Creativity, agility, and innovation are the hallmarks of the 21st century now. So if you really want to overcome your failure, the 6th strategy you need to have is that you must be creative, you must be agile, you must be flexible and open for new information or to new information. Open up to new information and you'll be shocked how life is going to turn out after that. So accept feedback and self-correct so that you can move on to the next level. All of us have done it. All of us have lost money. We've lost businesses. Now, the only way we could have come back to where we are now is because we learned, we took feedback, and we were flexible enough to know that if this didn't work, it doesn't mean that we have to stay on that particular path. Move on to the next one. Try something else. The vision may be the same, but the strategy will change. The tactical actions will change. And so be flexible. Okay? Point number 7, and that's the strategy number 7. Speak to a mentor. Listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, I can tell you that you are better off having a mentor in your life who can guide you to be able to do the things that you want to do. Because why? If you have a mentor, you are in a better position to learn new things than the person who doesn't have a mentor. Why? A mentor or mentors have more knowledge. They are better skilled. They have more exposure and they are best resourced. And therefore, when it comes to even contacts, they can link you to certain places that it will take you decades to get there. So And you see, most importantly, chances are that the areas that you have failed, they have already failed and overcome it so many years ago. So please, if you really want to bounce out of failure or bounce back from failure, get a mentor. Don't joke with it. Don't joke with it. And I tell people sometimes, get a mentor, take a mentor for lunch, pay for it, go to his house, help him do some of his chores, and ask relevant questions. Remember, I've said that the questions you ask, the quality of the questions you ask is what determines the answers that you get in life. So therefore, my friend, get a mentor, and that alone can change a life. It will be the game changer for you. No one understands your failure more than those who have experienced it before. Mentors have gone through what you are going through now and have come out successfully. So when you get one of such people, believe you me, you have gotten the number of years they have spent on this planet for nothing. Mentors are able to fast track your journey for you. Since you learn from their mistakes, avoid repeating those mistakes. Listen to me, they can show you the best way to win from failure. When you pick a book, okay? So for example, when you pick this book and you are reading my whole life. Why the rich get richer and the poor poorer. Secrets to wealth creation. You are reading my whole life. Okay? And so get a mentor. You can get a mentor through their books, through their music, through their writings, or one-on-one, face-to-face, even virtual. You can have a virtual mentor. Please do that. And you'll be amazed how you can bounce back from failure. Point number 8, and that is strategy number 8. Develop success habits. Listen, success and failure are products of repetitive behaviors. It takes the same amount of hours to think about failure or to think about success. And I'm telling you, my friend, if you really, really want to bounce back out of failure and to be able to overcome your adversities and your losses, develop success habits. Success and failures are products of the same behaviors. Your life is a product of repetitive habits. So identify the habits you have to develop in order to avoid the failures in your life. If you keep doing the same things over and over and over and over, you will get the same results. You see, I'm making this presentation so fundamental so that you appreciate the fact that what you keep doing, take driving for example. When you started to learn how to drive, you realize that initially it was difficult. But as you began to master driving, now you can do it without any thought. You can drive and be checking your phone and be making phone calls and be playing music. Some people even drive, and while they are driving, they are listening to the radio and all of that. It's because it has become a habitual thing. So learn success habits. Identify the habits that will make you become successful and bounce back from failure. Ask yourself, what behavior patterns and skills do you need to succeed next time? We've all done it. As I told you, every successful people, there are people in Ghana, in this country, for example, like the President Kufuor, President Kufuor, so many business people who lost elections upon elections upon elections, and therefore somebody could have thrown in the towel, but they bounced back and they became presidents of this country. Some became MPs. Some became wonderful businessmen and women in this country. So what are the success habits are you learning to be able to bounce back and overcome your failure? Strategy number 9, focus on the future. Please don't focus on the failure. Don't focus on the present. Your life moves in the direction of your dominant thought. Listen to me. Whatever thoughts you have on your mind, that is what is going to become a reality in your life. And I've said it, it's like leadership. Leadership is about vision. Leadership is about the future. Leadership is about moving from one direction to another direction. And listen, if you really want to become successful and bounce back from failure, don't focus on the failure. When you focus on the failures of the past, instead of the successes of tomorrow, your life is pulled backwards. So don't focus on the past. Don't focus on the failure. Instead, focus on the future. Stay focused on your goals and keep them in sight. Make a conscious effort to think about positive things and not to dwell in the past. All of us have scars. If you look at my hand here, don't know whether the camera can capture it here. This is a scar. I won't tell you what happened, but that's a scar. So everybody has a scar. Some have it in their mind, some have it in their emotions, some have it in everybody who has made it in life, who is successful, who has moved on from one point to the other, has a scar. So the fact that you have lost money, the fact that emotionally the guy or the woman has left you, the fact that you have been disappointed, the fact that you have lost something in life, please does not make you a failure. It's only a scar. It's only an experience. Leave it there in the past and focus on the future. And trust me, you are going to be able to make it. So that's strategy number 9. Strategy number 10, my friend. Strategy number 10 says, take action now. There's a Nigerian proverb, and that's a very interesting, A Nigerian proverb says that the mouth can describe how to cook the greatest soup and how to cut down the thickest forest, but it is action that matters. Let me take that proverb again. He said, the mouth can describe how to cook the greatest soup and how to cut down the thickest forest, but it is action that matters. That's a Nigerian proverb. Listen to me. Positive thinking plus positive confessions minus positive action is only a daydreaming. It's just daydreaming. Positive actions plus positive thinking without positive action is only daydreaming. So what am I saying? Take action. Why? Well done is better than well said. Whatever you have to do, my friend, to be able to bounce back from failure, do it now. Because that is what is going to turn your life around. So if you look at all the 10 points that I've given you, and I can go through them for you again if you want me to. The first point is that redefine. I said to you, number 1, you must redefine the failure. If you have lost something, if you have lost something in life, business, whatever, redefine the failure. Number 2, own the failure. Don't give excuses. Don't give excuses. Don't say because my father didn't take care of me. Don't say because my mother didn't take care of me. Don't say because I didn't go to university. Don't say because I lost money. No, own it. And once you own it, you'll be amazed how your life is going to turn around. Number 3, assess the situation and identify the failure factors. Do assess them. Every situation has both positives and negatives. Assess the situation and identify these factors. Then develop learning points. When you assess it, key learning issues will come up. Make sure you embrace them. Learn them and make them your next strategy stick. Number 5, I said, put in place corrective measures. Once you learn the lessons, put in place corrective measures. If you don't build a barrier around you, you are likely to go back and repeat the same actions that took you to where you are now. And then number 6, I said, be flexible and creative. Agility is a skill you need in this time if you are going to be able to become what you want to become. Creativity, agility, and innovation are key skills that you need in this century if you want to make it to the next level. Then number 7, I said, speak to a mentor. Listen to me, you need a mentor. So look for one. Then number 8, I said, if you're really going to make it in life and come back from failure, develop success habits. Habits are that which develop a pattern for you in order for the success that you are looking for to become a reality. Then number 9, I said, focus on the future. Really, don't focus on the past. Focus on the future. Because when you focus on the future, you are likely to be able to draw every action in that direction. And you'll be amazed what will happen. And then finally, I said, to succeed, to come from failure, to bounce back from failure, take action now. Remember the Chinese proverb. The mouth can describe how to cook the greatest soup, how to cut down the thickest forest, but it is action that matters. No matter how much you have learned from this presentation, no matter the skill that you have, if you don't take action, you are not going to be able to bounce back from failure. To bounce back from failure, you need action, and please do that. So what am I saying here? The closer you are to succeeding, the greater your fear of failure. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Anytime you're about to break through, it's unfortunate that for many people, as they proceed in life, the moment where they're about to break through and the circumstances become tougher, that's when they leave. That's where they throw in the towel. Listen to me. In life, the closer you are to succeeding, the greater the thicker the challenges, the more darker it becomes. But hear me, that is when you must work hard. You are not a failure till you give up. The failures of yesterday cannot be compared to the successes of tomorrow. I can speak to that. And so what am I saying? Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. When you fail, when you fall down, don't call yourself a failure. Don't fall with your face on the floor. Les Brown said that. He said, when you fall, don't fall with your face on the floor. Why? Because if you can fall with your face up, you can always bounce back. So that's what I'm leaving with you. You can fall. You are permitted to fall, but don't call yourself a failure. Look up. Learn the lessons you can pick up from that, and then bounce back again, because if you can look up, you can always rise up again and go back to your dream. Listen, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do us a favor by subscribing to it and making sure that you can share this link to as many people as possible, and like the video as you are watching, and make sure we can create a momentum with a critical mass of people to turn our lives, to turn this nation, and to turn our continent, around. Listen, my name is Emmanuel Daitumi, and it's always a pleasure to come your way. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep looking up. I'll see you at the top. Thank you for watching.